So a food forest. A food forest is an agricultural system modeled and based on a forest, a natural system. It's a 7-layer system. You have your apex species,
So replacing irrigation with permaculture. There's a traditional ways that we irrigate plants by using sprinklers and stuff like that. We use rainwater, and we catch rainwater in ditches naturally to water the plants without supplemental water.
Mulberry, a wonderful tree. That'd be your sub layer in your food forest. That'd be under your apex species. Beautiful berries, produces berries for over a month. The leaves are edible. It's just a wonderful plant.
Apple tree. I think we all know an apple tree, but this is an important one in the food forest. It is one of the major sources of fruit in the food forest that we're about to plant in Pittsfield. It works in conjunction with a bunch of other plants in the system.
Oh, mason bees. Mason bees. Okay, everybody knows a honeybee, and everybody, these are more efficient at pollinating plants than a honeybee. They're very important, little known. Oh, goodness.
Okay, honeybees, the other bee. Everybody knows honeybees. They are important for pollinating the different trees and plants of the food forest, as well as producing honey, which is another food that we're getting out of the system. It's a medicine. We try to plant a bunch of plants that draw in bees.
Polyculture, many culture. A food guild or a plant guild. Plants that assist each other in their fruition. I mean,
comfrey is an important plant that we use as a ground cover underneath the trees. It's a dynamic accumulator, which means that it mines minerals from deep down in the soil. It has a deep taproot. It brings them up to the surface. And what we do is a couple times a year, we cut down the comfrey, we leave it where it is to fertilize.
Sunchokes, a wonderful tuber, a huge biomass accumulator. You can feed it to your livestock. It builds soil. It can grow in your driveway. I mean,
food preservation is one way that we take our large harvests that we get from the food forest and ensure that we're able to use them over a period of time over the winter without having to eat all the apples as they come off the tree or all the berries or whatever it is.
Food is medicine. And when you plant food in these systems, ultimately, they are more nutrient dense. Food in a grocery store is really just, it's so empty. When you plant foods in a more natural system, they're more nutrient dense.
Dandelion is a super important weed that everybody is trying to keep out of their lawn, but it is a medicine, it is a food, and it's a soil builder. It's something that you want in your lawn and you want as part of your system.
Bugs, weeds, funguses, and microorganisms. The soil food web. It's a universe below our feet. I mean, there are it's amazing what happens under our feet.
Black locust is an amazing tree that we put in food forests. It serves many, many different uses. It benefits. It nitrifies the soil. It produces food. It is a great tree to have next to some of the other fruit trees to supply them with some of the fertilizer and nutrient that they need.
Stinging nettle. Some of you have probably come across this. It hurts, but when you cook it, it's delicious. It's high in protein. It's higher in protein than a steak. It's a dynamic accumulator. It's good fertilizer. You can make a fertilizer out of it.
Hugelkulture is not something that we'll have in the food forest right away, but it is a method that we use to create self-composting systems. We use a bunch of wood and put soil on top of it and plants on top of that. Because it's a composting system, it self-fertilizes and self-waters.
Beyond compost. All right, beyond compost. Compost, it's amazing. There's many different ways to compost. You have your Berkeley method, which is very quick. You can have compost within 26 days. You have your slow cook method. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that does say pee. Believe it or not many people know this, but peeing on your bushes and trees is one of the best things you can do to them. It provides an enormous amount of fertilizer. The uric acid in your urine actually is nitrogen, and it's amazing fertilizer.
Fungi, the internet of the environment. There's so much to say about fungi. I can't fit it into 20 seconds. You can eat it. Micro-remediation, it makes soil. It's amazing.
Greening deserts. This is an extreme example of permaculture where you can actually take a desert, you can take a sand, completely depleted soil, and then using permaculture methods and the polycultures and natural water catchment, you can turn a desert into an oasis.